trafficking is a phenomena that has existed for a long time under a lot of different names.
Trafficking is so intertwined with vulnerability.
When you think about it as something that happens right here on our streets every day, it becomes much more personal.
Trafficking thrives with this sense of criminals perceiving high profit at low risk. And so what can we then do to chip away at their profits, increase risk through better data tools, increase risk through stronger law enforcement investigations? You then begin to see the edifice of trafficking across the United States crumble.
We know that 60 to 80% of all transactions in the sex trade are occurring online now. Yes, it's had the effect of proliferating the industry, but it's also creating an opportunity for disruption points.
The hackathon is called Hack Trafficking for Good. Some of the projects are designed to understand the market and its dynamics. Some of them are to provide help to victims who have been rescued by coordinating resources. And our law enforcement partners have discovered that a more data-driven approach is much more effective at taking down the real hardcore problem rather than just working at the fringes.
People committing horrible acts, we're in a marathon with them, and they started 2 hours ago. We need to rely on technological advances. We need to rely on data analysis. All of those things that they've used to advance criminal enterprises, we need to use those to bring those criminal enterprises down.
Having people with this data science skill set of developers, people who can build data visualization tools, people who can design new web search tools. It's like this whole new type of addition to our arsenal.
Data science is changing the world, and it's changing the way we run governments in Boston. When you think about it, we wouldn't think about this issue with data. This isn't one of the issues that we would talk about data. I would talk about how do we remove snow with data. I would talk about how do we build more efficient buildings with data. I would talk about how we deliver services with data, but this is completely something new.
We were kind of blindly exploring the different avenues for help and came across a bunch of employees from the data innovation team at Thomson Reuters, and then a partnership began.
We do a lot of work around risk and looking at corporate risk. We've been working on a project looking at identifying forced labor and slavery in the supply chain, along with like bribery and corruption. We've become involved kind of on a side channel looking into the sex trafficking problem as well. Sex trafficking and prostitution, it's moving from the streets to the online world. We can draw from that data and we can learn a lot about patterns in the industry. We can learn about the marketplace, where activity's happening, what the trends are. The more we can share and learn from each other while we're accessing all this data, the better we are.
I have several roles in my current position. One of those is to work on case development, charging, and negotiating cases involving traffickers, sex traffickers in particular. A number of sex buyers used a review site, which is a place where sex buyers go to talk about their experiences. And they used it to write hundreds and thousands of reviews of prostituted people that they had visited. And in doing so, they encouraged other people to go see those prostituted people. Rather than just standing back and watching exploiters use websites to perpetuate this industry, we actually used technological tools to capture the information they were themselves posting, to use it against them, and to use those tools to identify them. All of that allowed for the initiation of this case, which is ongoing. The days of the individual arrest of a John on the street should be behind us. They are totally ineffective at solving the overall problem, a problem that spans the internet, spans states, spans countries, spans the globe. We need real, serious technological responses to that.
I think one of the big challenges that we have remaining is the access to data, and then bringing people around those data sets and continuously updating it, because this is an industry that evolves daily. So the response is going to have to be just as robust.
You can do a lot of stuff with data, but to actually make social change, instead of just crunching numbers and trying to sell more widgets or whatever, it can feel pretty good.
There's a clear need for the continued education of the American public about what labor trafficking is. And not only education, but the ability to help people understand how they make a difference.
It's about equity. It's about equality. It's about everyone should have equal opportunity, and that there shouldn't be a second-class group of citizens that are more likely to get trafficked than others. And so I'm glad to be part of that movement and part of that fight to try to re-tip those scales.